So, I thought I'd do this video after I was reading some comments about my videos and stuff, about my dating app reviews, and it was like, I'm not sure if this guy was trying to ask me out or whatever, but it was like, what are you looking for or whatever? You can read the comment. And do I have an age range? I'm open-minded, but I would say preferably I'd want to date someone older than me, but not like too much older than me. So I'd say maybe 32 to 45, maybe. I don't know. But then there are some guys that are like 45 and they look younger than like a 32-year-old. I've seen that. Yeah. And then I've seen some guys that are like 32 and I'm thinking you're like 60. Because I've seen guys, they have like gray hair and they're like super hairy and stuff. And it's like, I'm not ready for a guy with gray hair yet. And I didn't give out my age either, but you can kind of figure it out at some point, probably. So, I'm not really looking for a guy with gray hair. I've dated a guy with like a few gray hairs, but like never like full-on gray hair. Because I don't have gray hair and I don't dye my hair, but I don't have gray hair. So, I'm not ready for gray hair yet. I don't know if I'll ever have gray hair. Yeah, my grandfather is like old and he doesn't have gray hair, and my mother doesn't have gray hair, and my father doesn't have gray hair, and they just have bald spots. Yeah, I'm not ready to date I've never dated a bald man or a balding man. I know there's a difference, bald and balding, and guys like to make that clear. That's funny how they like to make it clear. Bald and balding. Never dated balding, bald, or gray. But then again, there are those guys that are like older, like in their 60s and stuff that I've seen like online that have gray hair and they're like older and they're like fit and they're like old guys you like check out. But I don't think I'm in that stage in my life yet where I'm ready to date like a hot senior citizen. I'd consider dating somebody like 50 or something if they were cool, nice, and didn't look too old and they were looking for the same things I'm looking for. But then if you're like 50 and you're looking for the same things I'm looking for, that kind of makes me kind of pissed off, because it's like it makes me feel bad for like the 50-year-old woman your age, because it's like, I'm not 50. I'm looking for somebody to marry and spend the rest of my life with and have kids with. And it's like, if you're 50 and you're looking for the same thing as me, that kind of makes me feel bitter towards you, because it's like you did a woman that's your age wrong. And it's like, why are you trying to get with me when you should have been trying to get with somebody your age? And maybe somebody your age wanted to have a baby and a family. And it's like, you could have had that already with somebody your age. So it's kind of complicated. Because it's kind of like, I might think you're hot, you're 50, but it's like, why didn't you get with someone your age or whatever? And then it just makes me feel bad for like that woman. Like I stole, even though you didn't belong to anybody, but I feel like I stole you from somebody from your generation. So it's like, I don't know. It makes me feel conflicted. But I'll still think you're hot, but conflicted. Yeah. And then people are like, what race of men do you like? And it's like, I like pretty much whoever. But then they're like, what race of men have you dated? And it's like, I date men from all over the world. Like I've said in my videos, I'm open. I'm open to white men, Asian men, black men. But I've never dated a black guy from America. Well, when I mean America, I mean like the U.S. I've dated black men that were from like, wait, where have I dated black men from? When I went to Canada, I dated a black man, but he wasn't from Canada. He was from Ethiopia or Eritrea. I think Ethiopia. Yeah, Ethiopia, most likely. And then I dated a black man in the US, but he was from, I think, Ethiopia. And then I dated a Tunisian guy. I would say he's black, but he would say he's not. And then when I saw his family, I would say he's probably not, or has a gene or something. But have I dated a black man from America? No, not a born and raised black American man. No, that hasn't happened. But I have dated black men. And I dated black men from Europe, but they were biracial. They either had a white mother or a white father. I think, yeah. Yeah, because that kind of gets controversial because, as you can see from my gardening videos, the color of my skin, and then people are like, oh, well, what race are your parents? And then when I explain to them, then they're like confused, but then they assume that my mother's white. I never said my mother was white. And I never said my father was white. I never said my mother was black. I never said my mother was, or my father was black. I never said anything about my parents' race. But if you watch my videos about gardening, you see my arm in my videos sometimes. So you can look and you can decide. But then sometimes people will look me in the face and then they'll go, are you an islander? Are you Ethiopian? Are you Indian? Are you Latin? I get a lot of different things, and people look me like right in the face, and they'll ask me, and then they get confused because I speak a few different languages. So, who do I date? I date a lot of people, a lot of different people. I even dated a guy. Actually, I've dated a guy from Syria. He was interesting. I liked him, but he was interesting because he was like fresh out of Syria at the time I dated him. He's like, if I don't know where you are at all times, you're probably cheating on me. And I'm just like, yeah, he's cute and everything, but we're not going to date. And like, that's the weird thing is I really like guys from like the Middle East and Asia. Yeah, but I realize it's probably not going to work out with me and a Persian guy, even though I grew up with like lots of Persian people. I've dated a few Persian guys. That's not going to work. But I do like Saudi Arabia. I like guys from Saudi Arabia. I like them. I like guys from Yemen. I really like guys from Morocco. Algeria is cool. Egypt. Yeah, I'm open. I really like Korean guys, but like when I tell people I like Korean guys, they're thinking like BTS. I don't like those kind of Korean guys. I like the Korean guys that are like more manly. Yeah, and I'll date a Chinese guy too. But I have like a type of Chinese guy. And it's not like the stuff you see. I like a manly Chinese guy with like a nice tan, but I don't get like, why do they want to be so white? And it's like, yeah, I like my Chinese man a little brown. I like my Korean guy brown. And I will date a Japanese guy. Oh, and I think Filipino guys are like hella cute. Yeah, and guys from Nepal are really cute too. Then I know tons of Indian men, and you're like, how do I know so many Indian men? It's like, if you've come to the West Coast in the past few years and you're from India and you needed any paperwork or anything, I might have met you. So I know a lot of Indian people. Indian men, women, everything. So and then before I even like worked and doing that stuff, I dated a lot of Indian men before that. Yeah, people across India are diverse. Dated a lot of Indian men. And people that just want to go to India and people that want to go other places. And and I haven't even just dated in the US. And then like dating in the US is different because like West Coast dating is one way, East Coast dating is another way. And it's like I've done some dating in New York, I've done some dating in California, I've done some dating in Oregon, Seattle, Canada. Toronto dating is interesting. I've dated in Toronto too. Montreal, I've been there, and I wouldn't say I really done too much dating because I didn't really have success there. It was like I would meet people, we'd hang out, but it was like the language difficulties because I can speak French, but my French isn't the best. And then the smoking. I don't like the smoking. In Montreal, there seemed to be a lot of smoking. Yeah, but the guys in Montreal, they were cute and everything, but it's like, would I go back to Montreal? Not unless I was making a video or something, or I found something cool there that I wanted to do. But I like Toronto dating. The Toronto dating scene was pretty cool. But like the places that I went to on dates were like bad. Because I don't know what it is with Toronto. I do not like the food in Canada. And it's kind of like, I went to like I think it was supposed to be like Tex-Mex or Mexican food. And it was like the worst Mexican food I've ever had. I've never had stuff like that. And they're like, oh, it's American food. They serve it in the US. And I'm like, yeah, I've never had this in the US before. And they're like, it's nachos. I'm like, yeah, I love nachos. I eat nachos all the time. That's like one of my favorite foods. But I've never had nachos with cauliflower. And I'm like, this looks like Indian food with tortilla chips. And they're like, no, it's American food. But that was weird. And I'm going off subject. I do that sometimes. But yeah, I dated guys from South Africa too, but that might be controversial because they weren't African. Well, they were African. They were just white Africans. Yeah, I've dated white Africans. I've dated Indian Africans. I've dated North Africans, East Africans. Yeah, I dated from Argentina, Chile, Brazil, Dominican. Like, guys from the Dominican Republic are cute. I like guys from the Dominican Republic, but I have like crazy stories about dating guys from the Dominican Republic. But I've only dated guys on the West Coast from the Dominican Republic and stuff, and Puerto Ricans on the West Coast. But I don't know, it's like East Coast. I've talked to people on the East Coast when I've been there, and it's like I've met some nice guys, but it's like I don't want to sound like mean, but the guys that I met, they were like cab drivers and stuff. And then like I hear about like in New York they pay to be a cab driver and stuff, and I don't think I'd want to commit to some guy that's paying to be a cab driver like all this money. And it's like, why not go pay for a college education instead of a cab driver, or become a bus driver or something that makes more sense? I don't know. I might just be saying this from the West Coast perspective because like I never heard of that until I was watching something about Uber and stuff. But I have seen a lot of cute guys in New York. But from what I've seen of the living conditions and things, I don't know if I could commit to somebody who could live in those living conditions. Yeah, I'm just like West Coast suburb. That's been my life, most of it. Yeah, I like a guy that's willing to leave the big city and move out to the suburb, but you can still go to the city because I go all the time to the big city. There's not like one big city, there are multiple big cities. But I know this is a little bit run on, and it's like just talking about stuff. But I'm pretty much open to any guy. But weird thing is, I've never dated a balding guy, or a gray-haired guy. And I've also never dated, because I started dating shorter people, like 5'10". I've never dated someone under 5'10". I've never dated a guy with a tattoo. And I tend to not date guys that drink. I don't like to date guys that eat meat, but some guys, they lie and they say they don't eat meat. I'll eat a guy that eats seafood. Yeah, but I'm basically looking for a nice guy that has his stuff together and stuff. And then, I don't know, there's some things that guys say that is just like a turnoff. Because, like, I've had some guys say, oh, while they were in college, they couldn't work. Oh, if they have kids, they can't work. It's like, I don't want to be with a guy where he's like, oh, I can't do this. I was in college. It was like, I went to college. And I went to college multiple times. And every time I went to college, I had a job. I paid for myself. I was independent and all this stuff, especially when I was really young. Well, I lived with my parents when I was really young and I went to college. But when I got older and decided to go back to college and everything, I was independent doing things on my own. So it's like, I'd want to instill those values into a future child or whatever I had. And then if a guy's like, oh no, my kid's not going to do that. No, it's like, I didn't do that. I want a guy, it's like, you might have your main job, but if you get fired from that job one day, you have a job to go to the next day. Or like if you say, oh, I have a main job, I can have a side job and do that when I feel like it. And like, that's fine. Cause like, I met some nice guys. I like them. And I'm like, what's your job? And they're like, oh, I'm just an Uber driver. It's like, I have no issue with that. Have that as your side job, not as your main job. Because you're not getting health insurance and all that stuff from there. It's like, I don't even think they should even have to provide health care and stuff. It's like something for you to do in your free time. So have your main job, do your other things, have your side hustles. I do that. And I'm not against that. But I want a man that has the same way, that feels the same way as me. Because I'm thinking like, I'll work my regular job if I have a kid and stuff and a husband. And it's like, oh, I want to do something special for my kid. My kid's birthday's coming up. I have my main job, but I'm going to go do my side hustle to make some extra money to go do something great. And it's like, I make a good income for a single person. And if I had a husband and a family and like we combined our incomes together, we'd be very well off. But and that's just off my main income. But if I go get a side hustle, I'll be even better off and in an even better suburb or whatever, or go for like the cheaper suburb, but really nice, and then put that money and save for retirement. But I don't see myself ever retiring because the inflation and the price of stuff goes up. So it's like, I don't want to end up being in a suburb one day, prices go up so high, then I end up in like a bad neighborhood. I want to be able to keep my living situation for like the rest of my life or improve it, which is still pretty good. But I'm looking for a man that's willing to work hard, teach those values. Yeah, and I'm looking for a man that wants to get married. I want to get married. I want to have a baby. I want to find a man of good moral character who I have stuff in common with. And the only reason why I say I'm looking for a man like at least 6 feet, because I have the tall gene. My tall gene didn't pass to me because I'm like 5'3", but my siblings are all way taller than me, and my parents are relatively tall. But I'm not, and I would hope for my children to be taller so they can reach stuff and not have to stand on a step stool. Because I know I was in like the store a few times and I wanted to get something on the top shelf and I've tried to knock stuff down or I just can't get it. Or if somebody walks by, I'll ask them to help me and then they'll help me. But I would hope to have children that can reach stuff on the top shelf. That's one of the main reasons. I don't know. And then I meet a lot of nice guys that ask me out that are like tall. I don't know. But what am I looking for? As far as a race or anything, I'm open. But I have dated a lot of Asian men and North African men and white men. Mainly. And I speak a few different languages. So that always helps. But even though I speak a few different languages and I might speak your native language, we're in the US, so I would prefer a man that speaks English. only because if you speak English, you're more likely going to have a better job than if you don't. And a man that speaks English that understands what he's saying, because I realize some people speak English and they don't understand what they're saying. And I never realized that until recently, until I dated this guy. He seemed nice, but I realized he didn't know what he was saying, and like the context, the undertones, and all that stuff. Yeah, and then when I would explain to him what he was saying, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know I was saying that." And then like people would tell him stuff because he thought he was being polite, and then other people took it as him being like mean and like rude and all this other stuff. Because it's like, if you're calling somebody younger than you sir, even though they're your teacher, and you're calling them sir, they might take offense to it. Because I know, like, if somebody's calling me ma'am, I'm going to be offended. It's like, why are you calling me ma'am? Are you calling me old? Yeah, like things like that. So I want a man that can speak English, like 6 feet tall, that has a good job, willing to have a second side hustle. And I want a guy that has an education, because I think a college education is a good thing to fall back on, because when you look at so many job ads and stuff, they require an education. And you might not want to do that necessarily, but one day you might have to fall into one of those jobs because you can't find anything else and it requires a college education, and then you can just go there and start up. And then it's good to have like certificates and different things, so because it's like, I want a man who's like a manly man, but then that can put on that suit and go into the office and do stuff. Because if I'm getting married, I don't want to have to pay people to come and fix stuff. Because like, I see it as Sunday, because it's like, I love to watch the DIY channel and stuff. Or wait, what is that? Oh, I know they got rid of the DIY channel. They have, what is that show? HGTV. That, and I'm actually watching that right now. But HGTV, and it's like, I see all that stuff. And then even when I was a kid, I like to fix stuff, and I can actually do like carpentry and stuff. And I don't want to end up marrying some guy and he's like, "Oh, I want to hire somebody to do this." And I don't want to be like the one doing like carpentry and stuff. And it's like, I have a husband. You're supposed to do stuff too. It's like, if I get married, I want to buy like a fixer-upper to some extent of a house, and then like fix it up, make it pretty, design it the way I like it. And I want a husband that can be able to help hang drywall, build stuff, and all that stuff. And I think that's just like really sexy, a man that can do all that. And like, he can do that on the weekends and then go into his office job or do whatever. Yeah, an educated man that can build stuff and do stuff and get stuff done, and that gets rid of things that scare me. I think that's really sexy. Yeah. So I'm looking for a man that can fix stuff, build stuff, independent financially, cute, and everything. And it's like, I'm not even saying you have to be a hard worker or anything, or you have to go to work 5 days a week. Just have a college education and be able to be employed and do stuff. Yeah, I'm just looking for somebody to be like my equal. Someone that, like they say, bring to the table. What do you bring to the table? It's like, I want you to bring to the table the same thing that I bring to the table. And I don't know, I just have a hard time taking a man that makes less money than me seriously. Because it's like, I'm a minority woman. And statistically, I'm supposed to make less money because I'm a minority and a woman. But if I make more money than you, that just makes me think, like, what are you not doing right? That might sound wrong, but yeah. So, and this is my video about what I'm looking for in a man and all that good stuff. If you like, subscribe, watch, like my videos, and all that other stuff. And I'll keep you posted on what's coming up. Thanks for watching. Bye.